Well, that was quick. Um, I just told somebody I was doing this. I haven't even posted anything yet. And they're like, oh, well, I got something for you. Um, I was just asked how at 50 years old I keep going like I do. Why I don't sit still. Um, for those of you that don't know me, if you happen to be watching this, I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. I go to work from about 6:30 or 7 to like 3:30. I come home, I clean up just enough to go either to the climb gym or to go to band practice. I usually get home at night around 10:30. Weekends, I'm either climbing at Manchester or I go to the New River Gorge, or if I'm not playing a show or something. I don't sit still. I am home to sleep, and that's it. I go all the time. And I mean, there's many reasons for it. I'm sure there's some deep psychological shit in there as to why I can't sit still. I joke all the time that I climb all the time because I climb above the existential dread. That's about this true. But the big reason why I go all the time is I watch people close to me stagnate, and that does something to a person, especially when it's your parents. So I lost both my parents within the last 2 years. And it was not a slow process. And the one that hit me the hardest was watching my dad deteriorate. Because when I grew up, my dad is, always will be hero. Like, you will never meet a bigger fan of Van White than Kevin White. When I grew up, my dad was always doing something, always on the go. The reason why I have an RV right now and I know how to run one inside and out is because, I shit you not, my father built one. We used to go on a family vacation once a year. We'd go to Disney World. I have been 18 times. We would stay in a motorhome, and he borrowed one for the first couple of years and then got fed up with borrowing one, found a Winnebago that was burnt to the frame, and just bought the frame with an engine. And the engine was shot. So he got a cop car engine, put it in it, and then built over a period of 2 years an RV, ground up. He did everything. I mean, I was knee-high to a blade of grass when he did this, but I watched him do it. We took that motorhome to Disney World for many years. While he was doing that, he refused to sit still, just like I do. So not only did he build a motorhome at the time, but he was mid to late 30s. He had a racing bike, back then it was 10 speeds, and he used to ride that thing from the house in the West End to downtown Richmond and back, just because. He had cars in the driveway that he worked on. He usually had 2 to 3 going at a time. He was always on the move, always going. He was just one of those people that wanted to know how to do everything, wanted to do everything his damn self, and he instilled that in me. And side note, my father was also a singer in a band. So we had instruments in the house, we had PA. So I grew up around a musician, mechanic, electrician, on the go, just powerhouse. That was my dad. Grandfather was the same way. Well, after he retired, he stopped. He just stopped. He sat in front of the television and watched TV pretty much all day, unless he was going and getting breakfast at Bob Evans or going to get McDonald's. And I watched him go from a slim, fit, driven, on point, never stopping individual to never leaving that dark room at the end of the house in his recliner and watching television and just eating the worst food ever. He had heart attacks. He had a triple bypass that turned into a quad bypass. He had a stroke. After he had the stroke, we lost the family house because we had to pay medical bills. And then I watched over a period of a decade my hero turn into skin and bones and just waste away. Knowing full well that if he'd have just kept going, he'd have been okay. He'd still be here. That affects somebody. That definitely affected me. From the start of him just stopping, when he just shut down, I refused to do that. I refused. I will not sit still. This life we got, this amazing sentience we've got in the gray, these fucking killer opposable thumbs, our ability to build and make and do, and human achievement and our accomplishments that are out there. Do not waste human potential. Don't do it. I don't care if you think you've earned a break when you get older. What's the point of sitting there and doing nothing? This life it's a gift. It's amazing. There's an incredible fucking world out there. And I'm not taking that for granted. I can't stand to see stagnation in anybody. I can't stand to see when people just give up. Especially when I'm surrounded by people that by all rights should just take the knee and realize that the world's against them, but they don't. I mean, I'm surrounded by climbers with one leg. There's blind climbers, for God's sake. In the music industry, I've got people that have been in the worst health of their lives, but still played shows. Like, people that just take life by the horns and just drink that shit in. That is what you should be doing. And I'm not saying everybody should go out and climb mountains. I'm a special case in more ways than one. But just don't sit. Don't just sit. Do something. Even if it's just going for a walk a day. Because my father did that in the beginning. When he retired, he used to walk a mile every day around the neighborhood. And he ate right. And he was doing really good for a while. And then he just stopped. Don't stop. Don't. And if you need a cheerleader, I am the world's best enabler. You want to go climbing? I'm your guy. You want to go for a hike? I'm your guy. You want to just go somewhere cool and just look at something cool? Let's go. Just don't waste what you've got. Because we don't get a lot in the grand scheme of things. So get out there and do some shit. And if you want to come with me while I do some shit, more the merrier. So, yeah. I guess that's my first rant. Probably be some more to come. All right, be good. Be good to each other. Don't sit on your ass. Go do something.